Okay, Star Trek: The Next Generation, 4K collection. Yeah, watched all four. Really good, honestly. It was good. Good to watch these. I think Paramount has done a really good job. Did a review for all four on Reddit. What I did was I split the four movies into two because I felt the first three, within reason, looked very equal. The fourth one, Nemesis, that there was definite weaknesses with that one, and this is really there's source issues, on top of maybe encoding as well, things like that. That I felt that it just did not look as good as the first three. So I'd really say that here I split the movies up into the reviews, different scores. I'm noting here as well about the CGI scenes. I've seen this on all Star Trek movies where their CGI scenes or special effects scenes look more noisy than the film grain that's used on the actual film itself. So you could say real scenes, like in the studio with no special effects whatsoever, have a certain look to them with a certain film grain, that is consistent. But you put special effects on top of that, and I'm not sure what techniques they're using for special effects, but to me it looks as though the film grain has been doubled. Like there's a film underneath film grain, and then the special effects film grain is like kind of put on top as a layer, and this makes CGI scenes look noisy. This has been a consistent look throughout all of the Star Trek movies. Probably just the way they're doing things, and they didn't change this for Nemesis. Pretty sure Nemesis 2002. This was released after The Matrix, so we've come a long way with CGI at this point, or we've just hit that point where CGI and special effects are amazing, and this one feels a bit left in the dirt, to be perfectly honest, from that point of view. But I think they wanted maybe consistency throughout the entire franchise. Was just to finish it, these set of movies. I don't really know, but that's just what I'm, from an outsider, you could say. Because I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan. I like some of their movies, but you could say, yeah, from an outsider's point of view, this is how I see it. This is just what I'm looking at. So, color grading and on all of them, again, maybe not so much the last one, looks excellent. Really, really good stuff. And the black levels are inky black. This makes it look dynamic. It's got pop, and something I wasn't expecting for these movies to look this way, but they really do look good. I also note here about, again, we go back to special effects. The special effects look to me as though, well, they're in 8-bit, right? We're not into 10-bit yet. I don't even think The Matrix, we was into 10-bit there. We was probably into 10-bit. 10-bit really came when HDR came. So I don't honestly know. I could have researched that, but I don't know when it was. But you could see bit depth errors and banding lines with the special effects used. That's just part of the tech and the way things were back then. It's fine, But I am noting on this, that you can have any source material you like, but if you put it in a Dolby Vision container, doesn't mean that you have perfect bit depth. If the original isn't good, or limited in some way. So yeah, no edge enhancement, nothing on the edge. It's all really, really good stuff, to be honest. There is some grain inconsistency. It's a soft grain. Can get a little thick at times. It resolves reasonably well, I would say, and especially for a Paramount transfer. It's basically excellent. You don't normally see this. Normally in Paramount transfers, you see grain being scrubbed. It wasn't in these movies. The last one, Nemesis, did have trouble, but I don't know if there was scrubbing necessarily going on, you know. So, but yeah, this is really good. I mean, from Paramount as well. I'm really happy with this release, like all of it. It's just it's good. I did take some screenshots. The sound on all of them is good. I'll check the screenshots out in a minute. The sound on all of them is good. I thought they didn't upgrade them to Atmos. I think that would have been nice, considering the very first movie got an Atmos release, and I thought that sounded really, really nice. Just from the fact that you don't have to take advantage of height speakers, even in an Atmos mix. You can improve sound quality just in general by maybe upscaling 24-bit, audio, so it's not just, hey, let's put sounds above us or anything like that. You can actually get better sound quality by them maybe doing some upmixing or improving sound and levels and things like that. So I do think that would have been nice, but I think with the amount of movies here, I think it would just be a massive undertaking. I think that's why they just picked the very first one to do that with. Regardless, the mixers on all of them are very good. They're decent to good surround sound movies. You know, we're using the surround speakers and things like that. I think it's fine. The sound actually gets better the more the movies go on. So Nemesis actually has a really good soundtrack. It has good bass and action moments. So in that respect, they get better as they go on. Nemesis actually has some really good bass, so it's good. But yeah, really, really good release by Paramount, and I'm really surprised they've been doing well. So yeah, I split up the first three. Video 4.5 out of 5, audio 4.5 as well out of 5. So really good. And then a Nemesis, I put it down 0.5 because grain just doesn't seem to resolve as well. It's thick, it's muddy. Just a lot of scenes just do not look good. They really don't. It has some good qualities, but yeah, it just couldn't keep up with the first three. The first three really did look nice. So yeah, okay. So took some screenshots. Let's go full screen here. So wow, we've got really good brightness here, and sometimes like when you get movies updated to 4K, you haven't seen them in years. I hadn't seen them in years, and it's sometimes amazing how much brightness they can pull from a 4K scan, and then they put it into the HDR system, and what they can actually do with it. It's really good. It shows you that the cameras back then, not obviously they weren't made then, but I'm just saying, from the 60s to the 70s, 80s, 90s, and everything like that, when they was using film, how much light they was actually able to capture is really, really good. But yeah, we're lighting characters really, really well. We have film grain here. Film grain and noise are really synonymous. Once that camera is turned on and it's collecting light, there is amount of noise in each image. This is really what film grain is. Certain cameras pick up more film grain noise than others. Like say a Christopher Nolan movie, his IMAX cameras have hardly any film grain noise. There's like hardly any, and it still retains though that filmic look. So just interesting. Now the film grain isn't ultra tight. It can get a little muddy, and this is why I really say it just couldn't resolve well sometimes. It didn't look ultra fine. Now that may just be the style of this, sure. It also could be what Paramount are doing when they are restoring each of the movies, and they want the grain to look a particular way. Now, I'm not going to rip Paramount for what they're doing on this release, because I normally do rip on Paramount, and they're like scrubbing grain and blurring things out. They didn't do that in this release. You can tell in this screenshot. There's a lot of film grain being retained, and I do respect that. So, yeah, really, really good job. Again, excellent brightness. This is really, really nice. And it's always good to see when movies get, their time to shine in HDR, so to speak. And, this is it. Just looks good. Good amount of detail, too. So, yeah, just good shots. So one thing with here as well is, now I always do talk about this, the differences between film and digital cameras, is there's no edging around his face here. There's no ringing around his face. Whereas a digital camera would be too clinical, it's too sharp, around here, and then there might be edge lines and things like that. I think this is why they did that with the Batman and Dune. They actually transferred it to 35mm. At least I think that's what some film stock or whatever it was, whatever they're using. I think it was 35mm. My assumption it would have been, to try and really smooth this out and give the image a bit more of a natural look. I would think that would be the only way they did it, because they just couldn't get the look that they wanted digitally. It also would soften this. It would soften this. The thing is, I think a lot of this smoothness is captured by the camera itself, not so much the fact that it is just merely on film, right? This look is the camera. It is not the fact that what it's been shot on. It's not because we're on film that you get this look. This is the camera, I think. That's what I think. And you can't just smooth out edges so much just because you put Dune and the Batman on film. It looked good. They both looked good. I'm just saying, I still know that those movies are digitally made, digitally shot. They have that digital look to them. You can never get away from it. So, but yeah, gorgeous shots, excellent resolution, and grain consistency is good in these scenes, and yeah, really, really nice, really nice stuff. Just getting here an idea for, can I see noise? Like, you can always see noise / film grain. Flat areas, they might become more apparent, like here, anywhere here, just to see in my mind all the time is how is grain resolving. There is slightly more film grain here, in darker areas, things that are, a lot of the times to see film grain, you want to see things that are man-made. Man-made makes things where it's patternless, right? Flat surfaces. That's really the easiest place to see them. Now, every time he is in a shot, data, the lighting seems to bloom. Is that because the makeup? I have to assume it is, because every shot he's in, he blooms, because they're obviously lighting these characters, right? You can see it. And the way film catches light, it tends to bloom the more light you have, and you see that quite obviously in a few shots with data in. So yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, this is my last screenshot for this movie. I mean, this to me, this whole scene, I think looks tremendous. I was like, wow. When you look at Star Trek special effects, apart from what I've said about the noise itself, Star Trek special effects I think look excellent. There was a show, Deep Space Nine. Yeah, Deep Space Nine. I'm not a fan of these shows or anything like that, but I actually used to watch them just for the special effects because they were so good. I mean, I think that show had insane special effects, and this movie does. It looks really, really good from that perspective as well. Excellent scene too. So yeah, from the first two movies. Now we're into First Contact, right? Okay, just checking. We've got the same consistent look from grain and the color and things like that, and sharpness and everything like that. It's all consistent. It's really, really nice. Good lighting, everything. It all continues. I love this shot. I saw it and I was like, yeah, I'm capturing that. I just think that's a really cool shot. Very dynamic with all the shadows going on. It just looks good. I like that. When these movies get HDR treatment, you realize how good some of these movies actually look. They look excellent. And I am a fan of old film. I really am. I know I keep picking on digitally shot movies and modern movies, but there's just something about movies shot on film that to me look better. Even with imperfections, noise, film grain, you could even say sometimes when you get blooming and things like that. But I like those analog film artifacts. I like that. And the digital guys today shooting in digital, they're trying to replicate this. They want this look, but they're using digital cameras, you know. So I just find it interesting. All right. Can we talk about these two? These two freaked me out, I tell you. They really did. I probably should have found the shot that actually did freak me out, where this guy, right, she's like in her chamber, you could say, or wherever, you know, she's like just doing some work, and this guy right here, yeah, he comes into the door and is like this, like, and I'm just like, this guy's an absolute creeper. Like, he's just I said to my brother, this guy is an absolute creeper. Like, me and my brother Mark, we laugh about this, right? And I'd said to him, this guy's a creeper, and we just started hysterically laughing, right? And but this whole relationship, I mean, yeah, I'm sure some a woman or a girl, you know, is going to say, oh, I think this is sweet, their relationship. I'll be honest, to me it was a bit too much. I was like, look, get me out of this. I couldn't take it anymore. So yeah, I don't know. It was just a bit weird for me. I just wanted to say that. So yeah, all right, let's move on. Great detail again. And these shots, you know, they look like they're shot on film, and they are. They don't have that digital look, and Paramount have done a really, really good job to make these movies not look digital or, you know, as though, oh my god, the grain looks terrible. It just, you know, how they've been, their track record, and for me their track record is not good, but their last few transfers have been quite good. So and including this set of movies. So I'm definitely happy. Little bit difficult to maybe see this, but again, CGI scenes, special effects, you know, they tend to be more noisy. That is, again, a trait of these set of movies. You know, it is what it is, you know. So I thought it was a gorgeous shot. And if you've seen some modern movies that maybe shoot at night and have night scenes, they don't look like this, do they? They're graded down. Like, I don't know how many nits this is, right? I don't. But if you can see in this screenshot, there's so much light there to light anybody's face. With modern movies, they're bringing all this light that we have in the screenshot, and they just grade it all the way down. It's like, well, what's going on here? Again, I prefer movies that are lit properly, and yeah, I just don't know. I just don't like this new modern system. So really, really nice, excellent detail, and just good HDR color. Black, like I said, the black levels in these set of movies. If I have an OLED, and if you have an OLED, the image pops. And again, I was not expecting that, from Star Trek movies. I just weren't expecting this, Let's check this out. So, what do we got? We have 94. Sorry, I don't know the years. 96. 98. And then what do you got? 2002? Yeah. So, yeah, to get these movies looking like this, it's just from the 90s, it's just for me definitely a surprise. So, all right, so Insurrection. Now, Insurrection, to me, I could see the camera quality had jumped. There was more fineness, a lot more fine detail on faces and things like that. Might be difficult to see in screenshots. But again, gorgeous color. Look how much brightness. Sorry, we're capturing here. Incredible. Really is. Again, brightness. We know how to again, we're on film. We know how to light scenes. I really do like this. I don't know. Again, I have to pick on modern movies that they'd grade this down, and in some reason it'd be difficult to see and maybe make out people's faces and things like that. But yeah, we have great brightness. So, okay. Now I found this screenshot, and because I was looking for a bit more examples of this, and you can see quite heavy noise and film grain noise here, and all of this going on here. You're not going to see this at fast motion or anything like that, but I just wanted to find something where you could really see it, because grain and noise you can't really see unless it's moving a lot of the time. So it's just difficult to really point out. But here you can really see it. It really thickens up. And again, we're in a full special effects shot here. Complete special effects. I just find it definitely interesting how they're doing things. Gorgeous, gorgeous lighting. Outside, but he looks good here. He looks really, really good. It's lit well. It's the right time of day. That shot there, I think you would struggle to get this on digital as well. Great HDR color. Really is. Yeah, they've done an excellent job here. Now, I was looking for instances of this as well, with cameras tend to get more noisy the more light that you lose. So this was a really good example of this. There's quite a bit of extra noise here. It doesn't resolve the best. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than what we've had previously from Paramount. It's still good. Yeah, it's just not perfect, So, now what I found here as well is there is these. I mean, I don't know how this was filmed back then, but were these blue screens, green screens behind here, and they added these later, because you can see there's noise in these color fades, and here, and you know, you can see that there's that going on there. I think we're in a bit of a special effects trap here, whereas and what I mean by that is we are just limited by what we have at the time and the way we're filming these movies. You know, I don't think this. I think this is part of the special effects and just the way things are done. So now I took this because I wanted to. There was a few shots I saw, especially in Nemesis as well, where there were bit depth errors. And what movie are we actually on? We're actually on Nemesis. Okay. So bit depth errors. They're really our eyes, right? If we saw a sun fade like this, and we was lucky enough to go up into space, and you could actually see something like this, our eyes see bands of color perfectly. You know, they're completely smooth. That's how they look. And when you put things into true 10-bit color, you see color fades and bands perfectly as well. You know, if it's on film as well. Digital, it's a lot more difficult, but I've seen a lot of digital stuff as well lately that is essentially bit depth error free, with no banding lines, no nothing. But you can see banding lines here, all the way around here of this light. Now again, this is just a limitation of the tech they're using at the time. So, you know, I wanted to mention it because it's my eyes go to, I don't know what it is, but my eyes go to imperfections. I don't know what it is. I could just find them. So yeah. But yeah, 8-bit color, 10-bit color. Today's movies, they still sometimes have this issue where you can see that. I think there was only a few movies shot in 2022 that were completely bit depth error free. So, you know, I've been seeing it for quite a while now. Now this shot here on this planet, it looked like Riddick. I was like, whoa, that's exactly the same way they shot Riddick. Riddick is, you know, the light is completely capped, so the dynamic range has been crushed. It gives it this look. So, and I think this was shot after Riddick as well. So, yeah, there's the brightness of Data. Again, for some reason, whenever he's on shot on the scene, the camera it blooms at you. There's so much light. So quite a bit of extra noise here. I mean, we obviously have a green screen shot with a film shot, and we've got a lot of noise in scenes like this. This is really a continuation of what is happening in Nemesis, where, you know, grain starts to get a little muddy and a little thick, and it doesn't look as though it can resolve that well. I'm fine with movies that have extra noise, but it wasn't able to actually resolve it itself. This could be due to two things, and that is what Paramount did, and to the original restoration, and then the transfer itself. There's two sides to this. So X265 is which is the codec they use to encode movies on 4K, is generally a soft looking codec. You have to optimize the codec to make it not look soft. I've been learning how to use this for like the last year and a half, and it took me a while because I practice just encoding and things like that as well, to get things as sharp and as detailed as I possibly can without you know, there's nothing that I'm doing though that's adding like edge enhancement. It's not that. It's just trying to get as much detail out of transfers as possible. And if anything, you know, they're not. This grain is just too soft to be resolved perfectly. But again, it could be two sides of this: the actual restoration and the transfer itself. So this is another scene as well where I saw quite a bit more noise, and let's have a look here. Now we have a lot of light, obviously, behind him, but generally speaking, these scenes are low-level light, low APL light. And when you get into scenes like this is always a good point for me to see, is there enough bitrate in these scenes? Because generally, encoders like X265, well, to be honest, X264 or anything, will put more bits into brighter things. The higher in brightness we go, the less obvious things or imperfections look. So when you get into this type of light, and cameras get more noisy as well with lower light, grain along these walls, because again, these are man-made walls. There's no patterns on them, you know. Flooring, man-made, patterns, no patterns. It's very limited, texture work and all of that type of stuff. So these are perfect spots to pull out these type of imperfections. So in the backgrounds of these shots, we do have more noise and things like that. And again, for some reason on this transfer, grain could not resolve very well. These steps as well. This is a really difficult scene with the lighting as well. And I can just pinpoint more noise just absolutely everywhere. And it just didn't have the sharpness to resolve each particle of grain without looking mushy, and you know, it was too thick. I saw a lot of shots like this in this movie, and I was like, yeah, no, it's just, this one did not work. It just did not work. Again, there's a lot of lightness outside of this shot, but inside this room, we're dealing with quite a bit more noise because of the way, you know, the amount of light in a shot and things like that. And the transfer itself really couldn't resolve this grain. So, yeah. Now, the movies themselves, this was really the most gratifying part of the movie, where he was talking to Data, and he was trying to find out if there was some type of semblance of memory and life in him. And I think he was there. He was there. He just couldn't remember everything. And this ending, just from that point of view, it actually felt really good. So yeah, that's just the screenshots. That's the way I'm looking at things. And overall, they've done a good job, right? They've done a stellar job on these transfers. But I want to talk a little bit about the actual movies themselves, just really quick, just from the way I see them. So the first two movies, Generations and First Contact, I thought they were good Star Trek films. You know, they were you know, the motion picture, you know, so to speak, and they honestly felt like good Star Trek movies. Now I was trying to think where I saw, because I'm like, I haven't watched a lot of Star Trek movies and watched them over and over again, and I tried to think, where did I see this before? And I think there was, when DVD first came out, I swear one of the releases was Star Trek First Contact. I think that's where I saw it, because I was like, I remember this. I really strongly remember this movie. But look, I enjoyed these first two. I enjoyed this transition to the new generation, so to speak. And I'd miss these guys though. I really do. and I think it was done well. This was also, and as well, the first one. I thought the first one they had a good bad guy as well, and I thought it was good. Um, Same here, decent. It was good Star Trek movie. Um, but this for me, this one, Insurrection, to me, again, we're just looking at it from the outside. To me, it felt like something like a TV series story, rather than this is a big motion picture event. That's to me what it felt like. And as soon as you got done with these first two, this is generally for me the general direction that I think the movies went. We started to just float along here in a story. That's just honestly what I thought. I just didn't think there was much to it. There wasn't enough for me to keep me watching. And then we get into Nemesis, and Nemesis, I just want to fall asleep. I'm just like, this story is just, I'm not with it. Now, maybe this could have worked well for a TV show, TV series, maybe over 4 episodes or something like that. They could have really, maybe it could have just worked on a different platform. But in a movie, I don't know, it just did not work for me. And like I said before, like the two. The relationship between the guy and the girl, and it's just really cringe to me. It's just the direction of the movies to me slightly started to drift over time, and we were only in 4 movies at this point. But when Nemesis finished, to me, I said to my brother, I said, this is why the movies just stopped being made for a while. We needed a new direction in Star Trek. And I think it was only 7 years. It was only 7 years that they just stopped making movies. We wanted a new direction. And then the 2009 Star Trek came out by J.J. Abrams. Now, I personally think that movie, and I'm just going to talk about that movie itself, I think he did a really good job on that. He kept the authenticity of Star Trek. It felt like a Star Trek movie, but modernized it. And some people are going to have things to say about that, but I personally enjoyed the movie. I think the 2009 Star Trek film is a good movie, and it made it appeal to a lot more people that were like, wow, this is Star Trek, and this is good. I can watch this. You don't have to be a fan of the movie to enjoy that movie. Now, we started to drift off on the second one. That just became an all-out action movie, and I can't say much really about that movie either. And then the one after that, I don't even know what it's called, because again, that movie I probably fell asleep to. They go into a planet, there's beings on the planet, and we either have to help them or we have to do something with. It's just again, that movie specifically, that would have worked better in a TV show. It's not a movie. It just and now we've gone 3 movies in with the modern movies of Star Trek, and now I feel as though we need to reinvent the movies again. So direction is just a big thing here. Now, in my opinion, what they should have done is just use one director for the entire set of movies. You would have had a lot more consistency there with just everything. Because again, the last one of the new set of movies after the 2009 just stuck out to me like a sore thumb. So yeah. But that's just the way I feel about the whole Star Trek set of movies. I think these releases are good, and I think Paramount have done a really nice job with them. I think fans are going to love, and they've probably watched them already, but the real hardcore fans. But if you haven't picked it up yet, I think they've done a wonderful job on the transfers. For the most minor things, there are grain inconsistency and grain not being able to resolve properly. This is really a paramount trait, but they've definitely improved over the last 6 months. We were talking at Thanksgiving about planes, trains, and automobiles, and about the scrub job that they did on the film transfer there. And now we've already got 3 transfers this year: Babylon and Dragon Slayer, Paramount, I think. Let me double check. I just want to double check this. Dragon Slayer. I just want to double check it is Paramount. I'm pretty sure it is. So just want to make sure. Yeah. I mean, this was insane. They give this an Atmos track, Dolby Vision, everything. I mean, they just went all out on that one. Insanely good transfer from Paramount. I said to my brother, I'm like, where did this come from? I'd never seen the movie before. Excellent little movie. I really enjoyed it. Great transfer too. So, and Babylon as well. It just really, it was like somebody else was transferring these movies to 4K that was not Paramount. It was somebody else. It was like, okay, we've done transferring now. We can't do it. Let's let somebody else do it for us. That's what it felt like. So it took all of those complaints, like 6 months to 8 months ago, for them to really start making changes. And generally speaking, in this business, from what I've seen, for quality, it's not a coincidence when you have good transfer after good transfer after good transfer. We're not at the bleeding edge yet. We're not at Sony's level with Paramount, but I'm very happy. We're not scrubbing grain in these movies. We're having a tough time with them in the last one, yeah, sure. But we're not scrubbing grain like we was before, and this is something that Trek fans can be proud to own, and have in our collections. So, yeah. That's generally how I see it with Paramount, with the way the movies are, with the way they look. Solid releases, all of them, apart from Nemesis. So if you wasn't going to buy the pack and you were just going to buy the movies themselves, I mean, I know a lot of people just want to collect them all and just have them. That's But for me, Nemesis is just the weak point for everything. So, okay, yeah, that's my thoughts. Yeah, again, solid releases. Well done, Paramount. I'd like to see these improvements, and good stuff. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for all the comments lately. Really been enjoying it, and yeah, appreciate you watching. Thanks a lot. Have a good day. Bye.